In this cruise update, I unpick what's happening as Cunard cancels all existing cruises on Queen Elizabeth until the end of 2021. Yes, the end of 2021, and they put back the launch of their fleet until May 2021. At the same time, Princess Cruises have also announced some of their fleet will not be returning until way into 2021. What's going on? What does it all mean? I'm Gary Bembridge. This is another of my cruise updates. It's increasingly looking like cruises and cruise lines that were planning or hoping to call on multiple countries as part of their itinerary are increasingly cancelling cruises into 2021. Before we take a look at Cunard and Princess' most recent announcements, let's take a look at where we were already. We'd already seen a large number of cruise lines cancelling or cruising until the middle of December, and that includes P&O Cruises out of the UK, Seabourn, Holland America and Princess Cruises. We'd also seen Crystal Cruises and Viking Cruises cancel right through to the 31st of December. Cunard have announced that they are cancelling their world cruises, as I had predicted in my last cruise update, but they're not bringing their ships back until March, April or May. Queen Elizabeth will return to service on March the 25th, Queen Mary II on April the 18th, and Queen Victoria on May the 16th. But importantly, Queen Elizabeth was due to sail for the rest of the year around Australia, Japan and Alaska. They have cancelled that completely and replaced them with cruises out of Southampton initially, which are going to be between 3 and 14 days long. They're starting off with cruises around the UK and Irish coast. They're going to have some overnight trips to Amsterdam, then start to go a little bit further afield into Northern Europe, and eventually towards the end of the season run some trips in the Mediterranean out of Barcelona. So what we're seeing is cruises that relied on calling on multiple countries have been pushed way back to late in 2021. Within hours, Princess Cruises announced a similar thing. They also cancelled their 2 world voyages. The first of those was the Island Princess. That was a world cruise sailing from North America, and they have cancelled all segments related to that and all of the cruises in the run-up to the start of that world cruise. The other one is Pacific Princess, and that was due to do a South America circumnavigation sailing from Australia, and again they have cancelled all the cruises in the run-up to that as well. Both Cunard and Princess are offering either a full refund or you can get 125% future cruise credit. It's becoming really obvious, I believe, that cruises that are calling on multiple countries are just finding it impossible to sail, and cruise lines are starting to cancel those. So as you think about returning to cruising, one of the things you may really want to focus on is cruises which call on very few countries, only cruise on your home country. We've seen that happen really much in Europe. So we've seen in Norway, for example, Hurtigruten and Sea Dream sail around Norway. We've seen cruises to nowhere sailing out of Germany for German, Austrian and Swiss citizens. Out of Italy, we've seen MSC start up sailing originally to other countries, but they're struggling a little bit with that now, having to postpone the second ship coming into service because they're not getting the demand because people are concerned about the different testing and potential quarantine as they call on different countries. In French Polynesia, you've got Port Gauguin and Aranui starting up because, again, that falls under one territory. I think the most recent Cunard and Princess news really confirms what I think is kind of obvious as we see world cruises disappearing. But I think we're increasingly seeing, as Cunard have shown, that cruises that involve covering lots of territory, traveling around the world because of the difficulty of airlines and connecting flights or cruises, the chopping and changing nature of the virus in different countries and the travel advice and just the whole unpredictability of that, and also the challenge of actually then getting people out into port. And again, very importantly, no protocol has been agreed around the world for the return to cruises. As we know, in Europe they're testing out some protocols with testing and so on and so forth. Hopefully you found this update helpful, interesting. I have loads more cruise updates, so why don't you keep abreast with those, subscribe to the channel and keep following the cruise updates.